what time did you hear from Christopher?
It was sometime after 5.
Okay. And where were you at the time?
In the car.
Okay, and where were you going?
My wife had called me. I went home to pick her up, and we were heading down to Barnegat.
Okay. And can you please describe the conversation you had with Christopher, that first conversation?
The first conversation is when I took the phone from my wife. Christopher was on the phone with her. I could hear it was loud and very excitable, and I asked her to give me the phone, and then I got the phone.
Okay. What was Christopher's demeanor during that conversation?
Hysterical.
When's the next time you heard from Christopher?
A few minutes later.
Okay. And describe that conversation.
It was the same. He was inconsolable. He just lost his son.
When's the next time you heard from Christopher after that? Did you call him or he called you?
I think there was a call right before 5:30, a relatively short call. I forget if he generated or I did.
Okay. And after that, when's the next time you heard from your son?
The next day, sometime afternoon, I think it was after 1, actually.
Okay, so that would be April 3rd?
It would be.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you discuss with your son?
I discussed, one, where was he? And then I discussed, you got to be back here. We were distraught. Told him to come home.
Okay. And did there come a time that you rented a car for him?
I did.
Okay. And why did you rent a car, if you know?
I do. He was stopped in Tennessee, and he had to give up his vehicle and his cell phone, and he was without transportation.
Okay. So did you arrange for transportation for your son to come home to New Jersey?
We made several calls and located a rental car place, and then we had made a call. I don't know who paid for it, but we were involved in trying to secure a vehicle for him.
Okay, again, that is the defendant's father. We may hear from him again in the sentencing. We're not quite sure who will be making victim impact statements as we wait for the fate of Christopher Gregor. Eric Faddis is here, Katherine Lizardo. Eric, so this guy drops his kid off at the hospital and then bugs out. We don't know if the jury latched onto that or not, but that's pretty tough to explain away.
Yeah, Michael, it's kind of a bizarre reaction, not something that, you and I would expect for a dad who did nothing wrong and is just concerned about their kid. We would expect the dad to stay in close proximity, stay in close communication with medical professionals, get updates, see if he can help, that sort of thing. Here, what happens is Mr. Gregory kind of just takes off, skips town. And I think that not only the jury, but the judge at sentencing might interpret that as consciousness of guilt, that he knew he did something wrong and he was trying to flee. And then when you combine that with the internet searches, that interpretation becomes more compelling.
Yeah, this sentencing is all, Katherine, about aggravating and mitigating factors. And let's not forget that this guy was offered a deal ahead of trial, 30 years, no parole. He's about to do some second guessing here. What do you expect to hear on the aggravating side?
The aggravating side is definitely the abuse that he did to Corey, especially how the jury found him guilty for child endangerment. So the 20 months that Brianna, Corey's mom, has been filing complaints after complaints, and the bruising, all of that will come in. It will be a very heart-wrenching victim impact statement for Brianna and Corey's family as well. That's definitely going to come in as aggravating circumstances for him. I have to add, though, what's interesting is the Google searches he did, he seems to know that he was going to get charged with murder. And here, he was actually charged with murder 1 year after the death. He was out on bond first for the child endangerment, and then after 1 year, that's when they charged him with the murder, and he had no bond after that. So with the plea that was was given to him. He rejected that, and now he's facing a much harsher sentence.
So, Eric, what do you think about mitigation? What do you see, if anything?
You know, that's a bit of an uphill battle here. I think what defense might try to focus on is I'm not aware of any substantial criminal history for this person. And so that will be important to a judge. Additionally, it's my understanding that there were marital issues, which can be emotionally distressing to a person, can cause them to act out of character. There were at least some searches that seem to suggest that Mr. Gregor may have had legitimate concern for his child's well-being and trying to find a medical location. But all of those are not really counterbalanced by the aggravating factors here, as my colleague mentioned.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We are waiting for that sentencing to begin. Obviously, they didn't get my note about the scheduling. They're not quite ready yet. So what we're going to do is take a break. We're going to jump back into Young Thug. Always something going on there. And then we will get in live with that sentencing in the Gregor case as soon as it happens. Stay where you are. Coming right back.